Okay, I just had a flash of possible maybe revelation concerning my sadistic, narcissistic father and how he may have actually like pulled off these games a little bit, and it all kind of ties together and it makes sense, and kind of like it would make sense. And not only that, the wolf name has come up. So when I was coming out of a relationship with an ex, which was really hurtful and took me a long time to get over, I married somebody on the rebound, and it drove me further into like a tough place. And this is why I understand like what this karmic's going through, but they've got to let it go, because there was one time actually, felt like I didn't want to continue, and actually admitted myself into a facility for the holidays during what was like an anniversary issue of losing the person I loved and then marrying somebody else, and feeling like just worse and even more trapped in it after that. And then it just came back around because he actually broke up with me on my daughter's birthday, which was right before Christmas. And so during that week, I was just like having nightmares and, feeling like I wanted to stalk that ex and stalk them, and just didn't want to hurt anyone or, myself. And so I ended up actually going into a facility, which at that time they actually diagnosed me with mild PTSD for just that incident, and which is later turned into complex post-traumatic stress disorder. But that was just kind of a situational thing, and it was something that finally took me years to get over and get through, and I did. That's why I would never ever consider going back to any of these. It took me many years to get over you. Why in the heck would I, after I finally did, why the heck would I reopen those wounds? Why would anybody? Exes are exes for reasons, you know what I mean? If they weren't there for you back then why would they be there for you, And I don't know if either of these exes are involved, but what I thought of, which was really interesting because it was right after the time that my grandpa passed. So I did get married in we eloped, and it was like one of those like almost like drive-through chapel sort of a thing in Idaho. And I felt sorry for the poor guy. He I met him online. That's why I'll never do any online relationships. Sorry to disappoint anyone that really, thinks that they've got their hopes up for me to be theirs. Nah. There's somebody or there's nobody for me, and I already know that person. And unless I were to meet somebody else in person, and that sort of feeling, that sort of like connection would be just as stronger, which I highly doubt, because this one I had it with, I've had past lives with. And anyways, you might not believe in that or whatever, but I do. So anyways, back to me getting married. I tried it. I really wanted it to work. The guy was really nice. I felt sorry for him. He uprooted his whole life and went from Fort Worth, Dallas area, and, cashed in on his inheritance. I was a bit of a mess, just trying to live a lie. You can never live a lie. It just doesn't work. It'll throw you into the worst place in life. You got to live for your truth, and you got to live for your heart, and you got to live for what you feel, and you can't do it for other people. And that's the thing is this part of the reason I married him in the first place, my family liked him. Do you know what I mean? But I didn't, and I'm the one that's got to stay in the marriage. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, this ringing and stuff is getting worse. And then not only that, they try to affect my speech as I tell my story. So if I switch up any words, that's the biggest thing that happens often. And I also do have colonizations that show up in my language centers on scans. They look like concussions, but they're not. They're related to other pathogens, microbes. So back to what I was talking about. This is getting more and more difficult. Especially when I point out what's going on, it gets more difficult. So I married this guy, and I tried it. I really wanted it to work. He took very good care of me. He loved my daughter. He had really great instruments and recording, like studio stuff. And actually for a time we were doing music together in the church, which is something I've known that is part of my life path, is to be a musician and to sing music that heals people. And but when it didn't work anymore, and I figured out that I really couldn't, he could, at first I thought it was this ex that was in the way, and everything was there except for the chemistry with my ex-husband. And so I thought, maybe once that blows over, I'll find it for him. But I never did. And I found out he wasn't somebody I could live the rest of my life with. But the whole point of this story, and what's really interesting about it, and what I thought about it, is that my dad's attorney friend did the divorce, but it was a super quick thing. So this was right after my grandpa passed, and I would have had like a trust fund or an inheritance or, something, that would be when that would have matured or whatever. So I kind of wonder, because what's interesting is this certain attorney friend of my dad's, and they're all kind of like associated, and, they have their little like shady, secretive coffee meetings in the background, and I feel like that man would have possibly been the one that did his actual will, although, BC, I don't know why I still don't want to say her name. She tried to say it was, the other one, which initials are R-E, but it's like hyphenated. Yeah, I can't think of what that law firm is. It's in my comments if it's actually showing up. But he's the one that did the divorce, and it came through particularly fast. But what I kind of wonder is if that particular attorney, and he was one that wouldn't even return a call when I was like, I've got these huge cases now concerning this defamation, tort case, and I left several messages, but I never got a call back from him on it, so it kind of made me wonder, what's he involved with? I know he was part of River Rescue. Anyways, moving on. Was that an actual legitimate divorce? And I mean, the only reason I think about it is because the name Wolf has come up. And if indeed somehow my money was being secretly funneled to that ex-husband, and he was part of, like trying to say I was like not like mentally there or capable of taking care of my own finances. I'm not going to lie. Like, my Etsy business went down. I was like feeling like I was living a lie. And I had a phase of time where, I bounced some checks, and then as I was being targeted, now I know what was happening. And it was happening, through my computer as I was doing Etsy work and getting lost, just distracted in the morning. And as like my business wasn't working out, and then eventually went down, and then all my designs got sold and to big box stores, and somebody else taking credit for my work, and I never got paid for them. And I know this story's got lots of roundabouts, and I'm speaking in circles, and it's not making sense. It would take me probably like 3 to 4 hours to actually tell it all in order. It'll be in the novel or the miniseries. Anyways, it kind of makes me wonder. And I know that ex-husband did get married to another person that he met online after. But, I mean, is it possible that it wasn't actually a real divorce and like stuff was done with him to keep the money hidden from me and try to, defame me mentally and stuff? I mean, it's all like highly likely. And, I wouldn't doubt it if there was another court case that they didn't invite me to, that I was supposed to appear in, because they did that very thing to me when they tried to take me out with this unwarranted welfare check call where I wasn't going to hurt myself or anyone. I was just needing Lyme and mold treatment, and my family wouldn't help me. So I would feel bad for Michael Wolf if he got brought into all of this. The other judge, and the judge brought up, like, are you on medication? The only medication that has ever helped me is diabetes med. It's the only thing that got me better through all of it. But I was just gave him a weird look, and I was like, okay, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, they were obviously spinning a whole false thing on it to cover up their fraud in the first place. And, I had a neuropsych evaluation that found me to be without any major mental disorders. Although, they did illegally obtain my paperwork and doctorate and everything. But see, the thing is all these judges and attorneys up there in this small town that's been like old boys club for way too long, and they think that they can do whatever they want, and they're just, it's the unsexiest mob of all time. Irish mob, basically. Go Archer. So anyways, I don't know if that attorney lawyer BB has a very big, strong connection to this whole thing, and possibly that Judge Kilmer. And but the thing is I have been under surveillance, and although it was illegal, it's if when you have an emerging disease, they say that the security homeland can stalk you basically just to see what's really going on with it, sort of a thing. But even that backfired for them because they found out that the lies that they were spinning to steal my money didn't have any validity. And, I don't even smoke weed or drink anymore. And so, I mean, I use kratom, but there's solid evidence that it actually regulates your blood sugar. And without it, I feel like I'd probably be 60 to 80 pounds more. And when I do get back into doctor's care, I probably will get back on metformin, or at least like either a low dose. It took me 4 years of 1,000 in the morning and night to finally get me to where I was functional again. When I got above 200, I was too sick to sit up in a chair. I had zero energy at all. I could barely think. And it was interesting because once that metformin cleared it all out of my system, and my thyroid particularly. See, if I'm not treating that, my thyroid will get all screwed up. Then they'll just give me thyroid pills, and then it'll just make it worse. I'll just get sicker, fatter, and not be able to function at all whatsoever. And so, anyways, they've done everything they possibly could to deny the fact that what was behind me being sick was actually a biological microbial issue. And it's a Lyme disease co-infection as to what my symptoms solidly pointed to, which is proven 100% under the microscope. And I got sicker, and my chronic illness began after a missionary trip to Nicaragua. It was a slow buildup. But like I said, after 4 years of doing metformin 1,000 in the morning and 1,000 at night, it cleared my system, and my thyroid got all the way better. Because I had this aunt that said, how did you lose that much weight on metformin? Like, I didn't. But the whole reason was because it cleared it all out of my thyroid. And so I guess that's the difference. It was more so it's affecting my thyroid, probably, that affected my weight. But they'll use weight fluctuations to, build a false narrative trying to say that you're using. And I've barely ever in my life, I've had a few phases back when, very short ones, and it was really just during the worst parts of my life where I lost everything. And, I didn't lose what my controlling, fraudulent family, I didn't deserve the false thing they tried to spin. They've tried to spin it in so many situations in my life. It's just disgusting how much of control freaks narcissists are, and they need to be found guilty of their crimes and held accountable for them, because it's not okay just to control your daughter's life until she's 50 years old. He still wants to control my life, he's a total vampire, and you got to give it up. It's just a mess. The thing is when I went through the whole thing where they tried to take me out, and I've been defamed and I've got a huge lawsuit over it. That judge, that was my 6th grade basketball coach. He knew I didn't have issues then. You know what I mean? He was trying to spin this whole false narrative to cover up their fraudulent money theft. And, the BMW is so thick right now. Oh, it is Sunday morning. Duh. They're doing their spell work. I figured out today that the secret magical prayer is actually a spell. I could do more research to prove it, but no, it's a spell, and it's false. And the fact that they will say a secret magical prayer, but they won't follow the actual instructions of Jesus that say that they're headed for judgment, that really is the thing that really solidifies that it's just false doctrine and false salvation that they're spinning there. Because if they were truly saved, then they would act like it, especially considering their own family. So I don't know what I'm missing here, just that I feel like JK, that judge, is probably involved. BB and his little attorney friend that did my disability case, FJ, is involved. And the regional judge that they picked for my disability, there was too much proof as to the real cause behind it, and my state of not knowing what I know now, but yet the events in my life being stuff that I couldn't make up to, try to create some false story. Man, when I watch this again, it's going to not make any sense. I need to get editing and stuff so I can cover the words that I switch up and stuff. I might have to actually try to make this again in a different spot when I'm not here at home and I'm away from certain energies and entities and hacking. which I uploaded stuff here, no views on it. So I really did validate that, yeah, when I'm away from it, the stuff is uploaded on my page, and why that they're having to have people try to gang stalk me on the road and hack me on the road. Because there's a lot of money behind it. What's behind this is really, really, really huge. But the thing is like I said, you know, they've watched me and they found that I've not been using, that I've been struggling and working hard, even though they've been hacking me and preventing me from getting jobs. When I'd get them, they would pay people to get rid of me and put me in a vulnerable spot. You know, they've prevented phone calls from coming in and emails from coming in involving jobs, especially ones that are close to the industry, like West Yellowstone. You know what I mean? Anyone that's close to people that actually are involved in the industry, they've tried to keep me very, very far away from that. So I feel like the investigator that actually is doing the work in the background knows a whole lot more than I do. And if the whole ex-husband, Michael Wolf, that not being a legitimate divorce is part of it, he's ahead of that anyways. I just need to mention it because it came to my mind and made me think of, specifically because the time frame of it was basically right after my grandpa passed. So, you know, my dad could have like finagled him into it, and I'd feel sorry for him because he's just a nice guy who also had overly controlling parents and was homeschooled, and somebody that's pushy and manipulative and criminal like my dad would actually really easily be able to, you know, get Michael to do what he wanted him to do. And the only reason, again, another reason I'm making this video and telling about this part of the story is because that name Wolf, and it's spelled traditional, like the animal wolf. And even when I got married, I used a hyphenated form of my name. So that one has come up in messages related to the whole incident. And so that's the whole reason that I'm bringing it up. And when I got divorced from him, I was really sad to see his Yamaha keyboard, vintage keyboard, go away. He was a nice guy. I feel bad about even admitting the fact that the loss was more in the instruments and the recording capabilities. But this also, like, he actually was a talented guitar player that had been playing guitar 15 years. But when I had a band, we didn't want him in the band because he had no rhythm. He'd come in like a beat early or a beat late. And that's the thing is like, and I was able to successfully lead groups and we got really good without having, my dad never supported any of my gift, skills, and talents growing up. He never put me in any musical classes. And in fact, when I was in those positions, he straight away took me out of them. And I think that also is to verify his false lie to commit financial fraud against me, because if I was his worship leader, then that wouldn't really tie into his false narrative about me, you know? So yeah, and when I was there, he got rid of me to sabotage that, got me removed. Suddenly used his false prayers of his will, not God's will, which is basically manipulation and black magic spun through church cults, you know. You probably use that to make my whole band go down, because we were close to, like, even though we did church music, we had like close to a full album ready to record before my ex, who was the main songwriter with me, you know, who's oddly somebody that MKZ 85 or MZK 85 brought up. Einhorn is Finkel, Finkel is Einhorn. I don't really know. The areas match, you know, who knows? You know, it said that it worked with the, had Common Sense, the fire chief. I know that they would have made those connections because he built basements for these people. So there would be that connection there too. Oh, man. It's crazy, but as little pieces come together, I have to put them out there. And I don't know. I'll probably have to remake this video because it's just all over the place. Because like I said, it's Sunday morning. The spell work is extra thick. It always is. I always extra have to protect my energy on Sunday mornings. And I just hope that these false cults are shut down and they lose their tax exemption, because they're just using them to launder money. You know, Joel Osteen, they're digging money out of his walls, but are they doing anything to help the kids of the preachers that got sick on missionary trips get better? No, absolutely not. We can't save their lives. We don't follow Jesus' word. We just pretend to, because it's all about money. And it's the truth of it. And I think my parents probably would have been a lot better and been okay had they not gotten involved with those organizations. And I think Rayma's nefarious, but I think AFCM is even more so, even more, you know, and it's weird because people would come in the church that were good friends of mine and they would do great until they signed up for the video Bible school. This is even something I presented to the psychiatrist. I'm like, there was something really weird about their video stuff. It would change people literally. And I feel like it could either be the head of the organization or it could be the person that's doing the mixing and the mastering of those, you know. It's just subliminal, like mind control being layered into recordings and things, and they're doing it all over the place. They're doing it on advertisements, you know. It's the whole ploy of electronics these days. A big part of it is part of this whole war that's going on, and it's a bloodline war. And you know, I had somebody that was a Nelson basically talk about how they've been through a lot of the same things, and yeah, there's definitely something with that line of Leif Erikson and the King of Sweden. And you know, I had great uncles. They ended up just pulling out of Billings altogether and moving to Seattle and Denver area because, you know, three of them ended up dead, doctors and lawyers. So I don't know, it's all interesting, but I just thought, and now it's 21 minutes in of this like all over the place video, I just thought I would bring up what could be a valid connection concerning the ex-husband possibly and my dad's ability to try to keep my money from me my whole life. Keep me suppressed, vamp me, get power by destroying another person's life. That's how narcissistic vamping works. It's abuse, but it makes them feel powerful because they're stepping all over somebody and destroying someone's life. It's a war for sure, but I got to get going because I'm going to win this war, and I'm going to win it today. And any interference electronic concerning my income or any little setups to try to get me off of the regular grid of them tracking me and my location being shared with the police, may you be immediately found out and traced back to who's behind it. And the setup that you're working with just fully disclosed. I don't go off grid. I won't do deliveries that take me off of my regular path. It's not safe for me, so don't even try it. The last shift I worked, it happened multiple times. I put up a video about it. Whether anyone's able to see it except for the nefarious, fraudulent thieves, who knows? But this whole thing is going to get figured out, and the truth is going to be made known, and the truth is known. And I'm sorry that, you know, I've done everything I could to survive and work as hard as I could and not give up with having absolutely zero support from my family for a reason. And while they're working with nefarious parties, I can't wait to get through this and to publish this story. People that are confused, don't put stupid comments being confused on my page, okay? This is just for legal testimony. If you really care enough, you know, I've got another page that the fraudulent copycat doppelganger attempted destiny swapper doesn't want people to see, you know, but you can look it up. She likes to see it because she likes to steal everything I say and do and design while other people can't find it. The gig is up. It's done. And any lies you try to spin online too, I can see through them. I know what my intuition tells me. We're going to win. We're going to get through this. And we're going to bust down some really corrupt systems that are really just making the world just a worse place and not doing anything for humanity. And when that happens, we're going to see a golden age. So that's what this is about. And that's why I'm having to tell my story. And even though I don't care about the money per se, I do care about doing what I was meant to do on this earth. And it will take me getting a stolen house back so that I can have a studio, and stolen funds back so that I can invest into myself. And I deserve that because I've had nothing but a bunch of sabotage. You know, I was signed off at birth, but it's been extra thick for the past 10 years. And then it's been extra thick after they failed at taking me out with a unwarranted welfare check call with a corrupt police officer. And they're all getting their karma. big time. You know, and any business that actually wants to collude with criminals to try to come against me, you know, you're gonna, although all of them that have had a lot of karma, they lose their business gets shut down. Nobody goes to them anymore. They go from 4.5 stars to 1 star on their reviews. You know, they're in small towns. You can't do that. Everyone through the state's going to hear about it, you know. But those that actually do support us, the warriors of justice, the warriors of true justice, the chosen, the one didn't deserve to be put through what all we're put through. The ones that actually bless us and work in our favor, their businesses actually get blessed. Same thing with productions and production companies. 1923 Paramount Pictures, thank you very much. I wonder if this doppelganger clone was actually involved in that project. I mean, it would make total sense, but I know that some of her covenant group is, because one of them's a country music musician. All of the tentacles of Ursula and all your electric eels be fully exposed. I'll end it on that note.